Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. It's a new series. It should be a new series. Kind of meet the CEO, because this lady, our first female guest on the show, is certainly the CEO of her family or her investments, as most ladies are the boss in the family, really, even though most guys might to think not. It is actually the case. And so it should be. Think about it. Often works out better that way. We have a saying in America. It's not a British saying. It's an American saying. And happy wife, happy life. And absolutely spot on. Took me a while to learn that, but I've learned it, and it's a good one. So on a day when crypto, mainly male investors, we're guessing that, by the way, but I'll give you the reason why I guess that, got liquidated. A lot of people lost all their money today on crypto. I showed you earlier on the previous stream a terrifying display of liquidations today, all over the place. Ethereum, Bitcoin, many other cryptos today got wiped out. Now, you often say, and you often criticize, and ladies get a bad rap saying, oh, women are all emotional. I'm not saying that, but that's what people say. Well, guess what? I did some research today, and I found out these little things here. Let me go and grab one of these. This is a nice little Bitcoin gold coin. Can you see that there? Right? These are on Amazon. You can buy all of these things, all these souvenirs of gold Bitcoins and tokens and all the rest of it. I did some research. I got some friends at Amazon and found out, I think between 90 and 95% of purchases of this stuff are guys. So guys are getting very emotional when it comes to their crypto. Hang on a minute, I thought that was the ladies. No, 95% to 95% are guys buying memorabilia to support their favorite coin. Crazy, right? Well, I've got some here as well. I'm in the same camp, but I'm giving it away. I'm going to use them as prizes. Anyway, we got a star guest on the show. Now, this lady today I met for the very first time. She's one of my gold members. She's a gold member, she's a viewer like you guys, and she became a gold member because she wanted to be able to talk to me off air. 1 hour a month, you can talk to me as a gold member and ask me any question you like. And wow, did I have a fantastic conversation with this lady. Got to learn a lot about this person, very successful. And she's now looking at how, and in fact, I'm going to let her tell her story. But it's fascinating, and she's now becoming an investor in crypto and other things, and a whole process from sort of was very stark to me. And notice it's very different than most of the guys in the chat, the bros, the baseball cap guys. You know they are. And things are very different. So we're going to hear today a perspective on it from an investment point of view from a lady. And we're going to see a different angle. So would everyone tap the like button? Have we all done that? This is the very first time I've had a star guest as a lady on the show, one of our audience as well, one of our gold members. And please consider subscribing if you are new. And I will tell you something. On average, most channels that cover crypto have about 1% ladies watch. We have 13%. So we're really excited to see today what this lady has to say. So you may recognize her. You've seen her in the chat. You've seen her about. But who is it? Who could I be talking about? Well, would you give a nice warm welcome and welcome into the show? It's our very own Casey on the show. How are you, Casey?
I'm great. How are you, Martyn?
I am very well. You're looking great, spectacular, and thank you very much for being on the show. So we talked for the very first time today, didn't we?
Yeah.
You requested this morning show, upgrade you to gold. Can I have a call with you? We had the call straight away, and then a couple of hours later, here you are on the show because your story was fascinating. So please tell us where you are and tell us about you, and tell the audience what you were telling me today. Just introduce yourself, your background, and who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I'm Kathleen, and call me Casey, and I live in Arizona. And as far as my background, I've had a pretty eclectic background. I started out in politics in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee many years ago, and then I moved into investment banking for a Fortune 500 company, where I did back-end support for our Forex traders on Wall Street, and I worked with corporate and private client groups. And so I learned a lot about the foreign exchange market there, and that transferred over to stocks and investing. And then my husband, I got married, had 3 kids, and my husband's job has moved us across the country multiple times. So I started building businesses. I've now built and sold about 5 businesses. And currently, I work as a fractional COO for mostly online businesses that are in like the educational space, lots of different industries. And I do business consulting. I also, in addition to that, have a family company that I've been very fortunate to have. My great grandfather started this company 100 years ago this year, and his goal he had incredible forethought, and he didn't want any one generation to be like filthy rich. He wanted every generation to have like comfortable extra income, and he built that. And now generations later, the shareholders that are all family have a pretty decent, comfortable dividend income from that business. So I am now at a stage in my life where I am looking to build something to give back. I've had a lot of fortunate things happen in my life, but I also am somebody who just loves building and helping others. The money isn't the thing, it's the relationships that are important to me.
And that's one thing you said to me, wasn't it, this morning, why you wanted to speak to me, because I feel the same way. If you take care of people or take care of the business, take care of the product, whatever it is, the money takes care of itself. And it's all about relationships. And here's a perfect example. You watched the show, you got engaged because of it. You then called me this morning, and now you're on the show because I loved your story. I think everybody will be absolutely blown away by your list of credentials and achievements and everything else. And blimey, it's like I should be a guest on your show, which is a funny thing, actually, because you did mention that at some point you are looking to start a YouTube channel for lady investors getting into crypto and that kind of stuff. And I think it'd be wonderful, and I would certainly promote it and get you going on that. So I look forward to seeing that. But it's fascinating. Thank you for taking the time to be on the show today. So you're looking to get into investing, but my impression from listening to you and talking to you is I think you're going to have a slightly different approach than a lot of the bros, the guys who pumping up stuff and chasing crypto all over the place. And I think from talking to you today, I got a different feel to you, and this is why I wanted to have you on the show. I think you look at things differently. So, what is your current investment strategy? What are you in? What's your portfolio looking like today?
I'm in most of the big three, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. That's definitely my biggest bag is XRP. And then I have maybe 20% of my portfolio in other utility coins, altcoins that I've done research on and think that they're going somewhere. And they're more probably short-term holds, like through the end of this year. And then I have one fun coin that I'm just taking a bet on because it was fun.
Yeah.
But most of my strategy right now is for the long term, and I'll sell out profits along the way. But with XRP and Bitcoin, they're long-term holds for me.
So what drew you into the crypto space? Why did you decide to buy Bitcoin? Because let's be honest, a few years ago, no one knew what it really was. A handful of people did anyway. Why did you think it was a good idea? What draws you to it?
Honestly, there's just been so much, news, and I've also been doing a lot of research on where financial markets are going. I think we're on the precipice of a complete change in the financial markets with blockchain technology, and I wanted to get in, but what it came down to is I really want to be in control of my own finances. And I think this is a better opportunity for me. Buying into Bitcoin, buying into XRP and Ethereum gave me the opportunity to be in complete control of my own finances and my family finances.
Well, that was one thing that we spoke about today, wasn't it? Earlier, that you currently have for your other investments, you have people managing it. You might have a fund manager or a broker you go to, whatever. So you just tell the audience a bit about that, and then we'll discuss that option.
Yeah, so for years now, I've been putting money into a managed brokerage. And mostly that was because my kids were younger. I was busy building businesses and, raising children. And so it just seemed like a lot to learn. And then I realized last year, just studying all of this, that um, having someone else manage it, it's really just costing me more because I'm paying someone to manage it. But I've been really unsure, which is where your channel has been helping me, of how to move those investments over so that they are into my own control, under my own control.
Well, I'm humbled and honoured that you watch me with your credentials and the things that you have done, and here I am, the piano man entertainer, and I've got you watching for financial information. It's quite astounding. Here we are today, but yeah, I share your question. Why do we pay people to tell us what to buy? Now, I think we used to, that's how it has to be. We used to go to the bank manager. The bank manager was God, right? He would decide whether we got the mortgage, the loan. He told us what to do. And now we very rarely meet the bank manager, and we're always getting different managers every 5 minutes, and you never know who's in charge of your account anyway. But since Robinhood democratized and made it easier for people to be able to invest for themselves, we can now do it ourselves. And I often ask the question, why do we pay someone else to do it? Now, you also have, you mentioned earlier that you have a Robinhood managed fund, part of your portfolio, only a little bit. Like me, I've got $200 in it just to see if I can beat it. And I actually beat it every day. I mean, it's quite funny how I actually beat the professionals who are far smarter than me, who know more about it than me. So how do I beat them? Well, the fact of the matter is, the managed fund on Robinhood wants you to trade in and out, switch from one thing to another, because every time they do for you, they make money. That's how Robinhood make money, with the market makers. No one's ever going to tell you just to buy the S&P 500 because you can't sell that information. And every few weeks I meet with sort of the local mafia, if you like, of Dallas, all the rich boys. And we have a little drink at the pub, and I talk to Big Ed. You all know about Big Ed on the show, and he bought Apple and Amazon at the beginning and all this type of stuff. And he had millions of shares of it. And he's a very wealthy guy. And all of it is managed by a fund run by a company called Fisher. And essentially, he owns the S&P 500. Just got the S&P 500, really. And he pays all this money for someone to manage it. And he's like, well, you're not really managing anything. You're just holding it there. Now, if you have somebody who knows some magic source, who's revealed the latest, greatest stock before anybody else, but very rarely anyone actually knows what's going to be the greatest stock in the world. Even if you knew Elon Musk at the beginning, you didn't know. It would have been a speculative guess at that time. Maybe it might be worth that information. But generally speaking, the best businesses are in the S&P. And if you buy a basket of it, the S&P, VU or whatever, you can get that for free. And no one ever tells you that because there's no money in selling that. Your brokerage is never going to tell you that, because if he does, you'll just go, well, I do it myself then. Exactly. So now we've got all the tools. And even we can buy an IPO now, which is privileged. And we're becoming so used to it, and people think it's a normal thing to do. But in fact, most of the world do not have access to even invest in the stock market, let alone pre-IPOs and stuff like that. So we now have all the tools at our disposal. The problem thereby, though, just because we have the tools doesn't mean that we know how to use them. Someone gave me a Formula One car today. I think I'd crash it into the nearest wall because I wouldn't know how to drive it. Well, if you take some lessons and you learn and you take the time, maybe you might be able to go around the track. So you're looking at perhaps taking your money off the brokerage or you're paying for and doing it yourself. So what would you be buying? I know you've got some crypto. Other than Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, what would you be buying on the market if you had control today to do it all yourself?
Well, the S&P makes sense. So definitely like a large chunk, if not the majority, in the S&P. One thing I've realized with the brokerage, which I just didn't see before, is that it's almost all index funds, and they're not trading in and out. The brokerage that I use are not trading in and out because they're looking at the average gains. And so I've spent the last year and a half learning about, investing and trading in and out. And now I feel like I have a better handle on it. And I feel like I could beat what the average gain is in the S&P every year.
You certainly can.
Yeah. And then in addition to that, there's a couple of different companies that, I've been kind of on my watch list, and I've researched the companies. So I think that maybe some individual stocks as well.
It's not always the managed fund account manager's fault, or their lack of information, or lack of knowledge, or the fact they just want to keep it to themselves and you as a customer. It's sometimes they're not allowed to do certain things that we can do.
Right.
Certain fund managers can't add Bitcoin. Now we've got an ETF, they can. I've got the IBIT through BlackRock. They can now add these things. But, there are things that fund managers just cannot do. And in fact, fund managers measure themselves against the S&P 500. You see them every day on CNBC and Bloomberg trying to outdo the S&P, and one day they win, and the next day they lose, and most don't actually beat the S&P 500. So it's an interesting conversation. This I'm fascinated by this. So you've now got crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. Do you use margin and leverage to amplify your gains?
No, not in crypto. No.
Sometimes I start thinking to myself, am I part lady or something? Because ladies tend to think the way I think. I mean, my wife says to me, you can be very feminine sometimes, Martyn, and you're definitely a man. I know that, but I have a feminine side, perhaps quite emotional, sensitive. But in fact, some very clever person told me once, the secret to success is in your brain. There's two sections. There's many sections. I'm simplifying it. I'm not a brain surgeon, but there's the business side and the artistic side. And very often, artistic people can be all like, Leonardo da Vinci, all over the place, or Van Gogh, very creative, but can't make a business out of it. Then you got the business people who are all about the money, but they can't be creative with it. But if you could put the two together, you could be creative, artistic, and business. You got it. And he said that is a trait that a lot of women have that very few men do. And he says, you have that. You're definitely a man, right? I said, yeah, definitely. I really like ladies. He said, yeah, you definitely are then. But it's a real thing that that ladies have this perception and so on. So you've not used margin to amplify your gains. I think one of our guests today explained it perfectly. I think it was Saab who said that crypto already is a leverage position by the amount it moves, if you like. You buy it one day and you're up 50% the next day. So why throw gas on the fire and risk it when you can already outdo the market on a good day? And if you amplify those gains, you can amplify the losses too, and that's what happened today. A lot of people got leverage today because they think it can go up and up and up forever. And of course, when it goes down, rather than being able to buy some more, they can't because they over leveraged. They got wiped out with margin, and boom, they've got no money. The broker wins again. They get nothing. So you don't use margin to buy crypto. Do you use margin to buy stocks?
Not so far, I haven't, but most of it's in managed brokerage, so they're not. Like
if you got chance to run it yourself, is that something you would do?
It's something I may consider, but I'm very strategic and intentional in my thinking. So I would really need to know more about, the pros and cons. Like, what am I risking here? What am I risking losing? And I know with stocks, it is less volatile. The market doesn't move as fast as crypto. Things don't always go up as fast, and they don't always fall as fast. So maybe it's a safer bet, but I don't know enough about it at this point to say that I would make that part of my strategy.
That's it. And a lot of our audience, we did a poll, I think it was 85%. I said, how many of you have ever read the balance sheet of any business or anything you've ever bought? Because you can't buy a balance sheet of a Bitcoin. And 85% said they've never read the balance sheet. How do you not read the balance sheet? How do you not go and view a house you're going to buy? How do you buy a car and not know what car you're going to buy? Just buy it because some bloke on YouTube said so? Yeah, I mean, it took me over a year to convince my wife to buy the smallest amount of Bitcoin. She wanted more and more and more information. Whereas it seems I could convince a guy, if I wanted to, down the pub, I could get someone to buy Bitcoin in about 3 minutes. If I told them it was great and it's going to go up. Oh, really? Where can I buy some? So this is great. Just listening to you, how you talk differently. And I think from more experience I get with the ladies on the show, this is becoming more and more apparent to me. As I say, these coins I was showing you earlier, I spoke to someone today who works with Amazon, and they said, we can tell you between 90 and 95% of the people that buy this are guys, because of the emotional attention and attraction to it. So, okay, I've asked you plenty of questions. Is there anything you want to ask me? I'd love to have a two-way conversation with you.
Yeah, there were a couple of things. One, you talked about earlier on your show about, that first 18 months to 2 years being having some losses. I think you said like 60,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so how is it that you became so successful? Because I think you have like a 99% win rate now, right?
Yeah.
Am I right about
that? It would
be
100% if I didn't do a demonstration trade.
So what did you do to turn that around? Was it just the experience of the losses, or were there specific things that you learned in order to?
Great question. Thank you very much. Well, at the end of the day, you learn nothing from success. You learn everything from failure. It's not that I didn't know what I was doing, but again, I got emotional. I got carried away. I got excited by the trend of let's buy space. Let's buy something that's exciting. And I mean, I've been in business 40 years this year. I left home at 16. So 40 years, I've always done the same job. I've always employed myself. I own my own home. I've always been successful. And at 17, I was investing with Barclays Bank. Barclays Bank. So, I have some experience of it. However, 4 years ago, when I started this YouTube channel, because the reason I did that was because COVID killed my touring days and I couldn't tour anymore. I had to build this channel instead, which is what I wanted to do as a legacy, like my final thing, build a big channel and hand it on to someone else, which is what I'm doing now with Sensei. I built this and I got all excited when I started doing it. And I remember it was one night I was asked to play at Mark Cuban's house. He's a billionaire. And as you know, he owns the Mavericks and whatever. He's on Shark Tank. Went down to his house down in Dallas, Highland Park area. And I'm playing the piano and I'm doing my thing. And afterwards I had a chat with him and other people. And it was really funny because I was just starting doing my YouTube thing, and I was telling everybody how clever I was because I knew all about Virgin Galactic Space, and I knew about Tesla, and I knew about this, and I knew about that. Crypto is going to be great. And I'm talking to all these Wall Street managers in their 60s, who are very wealthy guys, very rich, very successful, and they just smiled at me, sort of a very calm smile, very, very gracious guys. And well, I'm going on and on and on about how great I am and what I know and all the rest of it. And of course, I kept buying with the passion of everything going up, and I didn't even know what I was doing because I wasn't even aware of the FIFO rule, first in, first out. So I was buying on the way down, thinking I'm buying cheaper and cheaper, and then selling a little bit. Well, all I was doing was the first in, first out. I was selling the stocks I'd lost money on over and over again. It was just ridiculous. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was just going along with the flow and getting all excited. Lost 60 grand in the end. Unbelievable. And then I got Martyn called live on the show. Literally had tears in my eyes. It was like quite a live stream. People remember it. But I kept going and building the channel. And then I went back to another party. I did the Jerry Jones Halloween party, the guy who owns the Cowboys, and talked to these guys again. A bit different. I went, yeah. He said, we knew you'd get it in the end. It's like, oh my God. But you have to learn by making mistakes. If I'd started by winning, I would have sat here now thinking I'm the greatest flipping investor in the world because I've just won. You win nothing by winning. You win everything by losing. It's a journey. It's not today. It's where you get, and it's a journey that you go on, the life experiences that you have. So I learned, and things were very, very different. So then I realized, hang on a minute. What made one night in Vegas successful, my touring days as the world piano man, was the people that you associated with. I had one of the most famous orchestras in the world, the British Philharmonic Orchestra. I toured with them, met the biggest stars in the world. And what made that successful was the connections. And you open this interview today all about connections. Relationships. I mean, look how quickly this has happened. You come on the show, we have a chat, now you're on the show, now you're a guest on my show. What comes next? There's loads and loads of ladies in the chat now celebrating you're here, talking. This is just wonderful, right? So things happen when you make them happen with people, relationships. So I went back to what I really know. Let me talk to the people that know what they're talking about. These guys I met at the party. They're all multimillionaires. There's a few billionaires. And I've noticed rich people, successful people, surround themselves by successful rich people. They don't want the nutcase at the party talking a lot of nonsense, rolling around drunk in the corner. What's the good of that? They want to associate with people that are winners. And if you surround yourself with winners, you become a winner too. So I listened to them. I stopped listening to stuff on YouTube. I stopped to listen to people in my chat as well. No disrespect. People in my chat, come on, Martyn, keep buying it. Don't worry, we'll get the bottom in a minute. Hang on a minute. Let me talk to the people that actually run the company. So I did. We had the Meet the CEO series. One by one, I started doing the right thing. They would call me up. I didn't even need to call them. We had the CEOs on the show live, inviting me to earnings calls, not to broadcast them, but to be in them. Hang on a minute, how did this happen? 5 minutes ago, I'm the piano man, and now I'm on the earnings call with the CEO of the company. Like I'm talking to you. So I learned, hang on a minute, let's talk to the people that actually move the money, the people that run the business. Don't matter what people say on YouTube, what they say in the chat, what is the businesses saying? And I learned. And everyone told me, this is what's happening next. I had information that from Wall Street. I even got a press room White House contact. That came from a CEO who said, Martyn, let me give you this number. Make friends with this person. On Saturday morning, I got a whisper from Trump, not directly from Trump, but people right next to him, telling me that Tilray would be up 20% on Monday. It was up 20.5% on Monday. Now, this is not inside information. It's information being shared all over the place, but most people don't read it, know about it, see it. There's news every day, every minute. You can't read it all. It's all there. It's not inside information. It's just you don't see it. So I started getting this information. And then I learned more about this and this and this. And before you know it, I've got whales watching the show. We've got 2 platinum whales that watch the show. They pay $500 a month to watch my show. They can watch it for free, but they want to support the show. And I learned from them. I learned from you. What you're saying to me today is wonderful. It backs up with what I've been thinking about way females look at investing. And, this is how we learn, by having conversations and meeting people and so on. And talking doesn't do anything, but I have to talk because the show would be silent. Listening is everything. And everything I've learned comes from listening to people in the show, listening to people. And now when I rebalance my portfolio, I win. It's easy to win. It really is once you know the game. It's just a game of this game of the stock market is a game. Look what happened today. We made all these analysts gave their predictions about what they expected the PPI to be. It was way over that. The market should have gone down 20%, but it didn't. So then you say, well, why didn't it? Because they kind of price it in and then allow it to happen. Well, we kind of expected it, but that's not our official analysis. So let's take it down and then buy it back. And like, what did the numbers mean then? The market should have gone down 20%, but it didn't. And in fact, till a few moments ago, just before we came on air, I was saying to you that I bought the S&P. Oh, yeah, it has actually. I bought the S&P today on a day when the market should have crashed. And I'm up on it. Look, I'll even show you. Look, people are going, what? You're buying this? Yep. Let me go down here. There you go. 7 hours ago. Let me zoom in here. 8 shares, 591.40. Now, people will say to you, you should never buy the all-time high. 591.40. Look. On a day when the market should have gone down, I'm up again. I've won again. What the hell's all that about? People say you shouldn't buy the top. You shouldn't buy when the market is overbought and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, you're buying a quality asset and you see where it's going next. Of course, people are going to buy it at the top. Are you telling me people with 401ks and aren't going to be buying next month? They buy every month. What about a year from now when the market's up another 10%? Are they wrong? Well, of course not. Money's being devalued over time anyway, so it's not really up that much with inflation and everything else. That's how this system works. So to answer your question, I just spoke to people, I built relationships, and here we are today, win. It's really easy to win if you want to work harder, and no one works harder than me. I work 14-hour days to grow the best channel in the world. And I never stop. And from listening to you, you sound like you have an equally busy life. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just said something too when you were talking about building the relationships. And this is exactly why I joined Gold today, because you had said that on your earlier show, that it's all about relationships. And I think every success I've ever had in anything that I've done has been based on relationships that I've built. But it's more than that. Maybe this is the female side of your brain again. But I think that you have that. It's not strategy. It's more connection. You don't just connect the dots between you and people. You make relationships and then you bring it to your audience, or you make relationships and you introduce people to other people, and you kind of bring everybody's expertise into one room.
It's fascinating you say that, actually, because you know what? I had that conversation today with Sensei. After I spoke to you, I spoke to him, and he said, you're going to need to make your gold membership more expensive. I've got about 100 gold members. He said, you've already told the audience, which is true, my hourly time is worth to me between 500 and 750 an hour. That's what I can generate. That's what my time is worth to me, right? 24/7. Right. So why are you giving gold memberships for like $20 more than silver? $20. Here's the example. Here's the investment. Look at the value we got out of it now. You're on my show. This is a great stream. People are loving this. More people are coming in. My female audience is going through the roof. They're all loving it. You see what I mean? And guess what, Casey? Even though the gold membership is what, $23 a month, whatever, do you know how many people actually use that 1 hour and call me a month? Less than 1%. Mm-hmm. I just want to support you, Martyn. Right? Some say I want to call you, but never do. So I don't end up charging $23 a month for this. Most don't even do it. So if you think past the money and you think, I want gold members because I want to meet people because I want to be open to what comes next. I've learned in life, you never ever regret what you do, ever. You can always come back and survive it. You always regret the things you don't do. And on your dying bed, when you're 90 years of age and you're sitting there and you've got 1 minute left to live, you never regret all the stuff that went wrong. You go, oh, I wish I did a parachute jump. I wish I went to America. I never traveled. I never went on a boat. So always say yes to everything.
Absolutely. I love that.
So what's next for you, Casey? What are you going to do now with your strategy?
As far as crypto investing or business, because what I'm looking at in business is really helping. I would love to help other women get into crypto. I think they're very underrepresented within crypto. I think that it's a little scary for people, especially women. And so I am considering starting a YouTube channel. Not quite there yet, but if I can, I'm still on this journey. It's always going to be a journey. But I just went through a lot of this beginner stuff in the last year and a half. And if I can help shorten the learning curve for other women to onboard them into crypto, I'm at that stage where I want to give back like that.
This is what I love about entrepreneurial, spirited people. We haven't scripted this, guys. But can you see how two people who share the same ideas of growth and opportunity, Casey's playing it perfectly. We didn't discuss that, say that, right? She's playing me like a fiddle. It's brilliant and well done. And I'm playing her like a fiddle. Well done to me. Well, but we're both trying to do something and build something and make something. And this is one of the things I love about America. I came to America 8 years ago, and the entrepreneurial spirit of America is off the charts. It's not like this anywhere else. And I mean that. I'm from the UK, love England, love God Save the King and all the rest of it. And we are one of the fifth largest economies in the world. For a tiny little island, it's amazing. We used to be the British Empire. However, In England, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and it gets closed down. In America, you come with an idea, you want to build something, people flock around you. It's not like, well, you have to be married, you have to know the King of England, or you have to be like in the aristocrat, an aristocrat, otherwise everything's shut down, which is how it is in England. In America, it is the land of the golden dream, because if you've got an idea and you work harder than anyone else, and if you love to work, and I do, and you obviously do, the world opens up here. And an opportunity has come today. I'm going to end up seeing you a successful YouTuber. I'm going to help you grow. You know I'm going to help you now because you've built a relationship. You see what it's about, folks? It's about making friends. That same idea. I'm looking at Katie thinking, this is great. We're going to do something good here. And she's thinking, yes, we're going to do something good here. And we're both going to win. Again, we're going to win. I love this, Casey. Thank you for taking the time to be on the show today. I wish you the greatest. Do we have any questions at all in the chat very, very quickly for Casey? The crypto and Namisha. I want to go to all the ladies. Any ladies like to ask Casey a question? Namisha says, the crypto terminology is insane and difficult to understand for newbies. Still learning. That's it. You're always learning. A lot of the guys in the chat, they know everything. They've learned it all. Very often the ladies will say to me, I want to learn. I want to know more. If you want to know more, you learn more. If you say you know everything, you shut down and you end up knowing nothing. I've learned that lesson. What else have we got here? I don't see. Have I got any questions? Oh, count me in, Casey. So we've got a member here called CB6633. She's going to be a subscriber to your channel. So there you go. Count me in, Casey. CB6633. I'm loving it. Alex says, when you sleep, someone else works harder. No, not than me, Alex. My YouTube channel is working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Some successful person said to me, if you're not earning money 24 hours a day, you'll work to the day you die. I make it so that I'm earning money when I'm asleep. All right, just let's get that right. Let's get that straight. Tell my sister, not 100% in CDs. I don't understand the question. You said this earlier today. I'm sorry, but I don't get it. Alex says, nobody learns everything. Learning is part of the journey. That's right, Alex. I've always thought you've had a bit of a feminine side of your brain. I see that. Oh, hello, Jocelyn. Jocelyn, count me in as well. She wants to join your YouTube channel. Have you ever thought of this, Casey? You've already got customers and you haven't even built it yet. That's not bad, is it?
I haven't built it. That's great.
Absolutely great. You have to come to work for me. I tell you what, I'm going to pattern this. I'm going to make it Martyn Lucas Investor / ladies. And you can be like Sensei and Vaz. You can be on my channel with your little section. That's what we can do. We'll tie that up in a minute. You go, well, I want my own channel. No, too late. It's already signed up. I meant it generally, Martyn. Ha ha. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Casey, thank you for taking the time to be on the show. What is your strategy now? Are you currently have your portfolio with somebody else? At least your main, normal stocks and shares, ETFs. What is your strategy? Are you going to clear that off? Are you going to transfer? Because the best strategy for doing that is if you want to transfer a previous 401k or a fund from somewhere else, you don't have to sell the stocks and pay capital gains. You can simply contact Robinhood and transfer a fund in. So whatever's somewhere else just comes over, and they even give you a match. Like you get like a little bonus, like 1% so I mean, it's free money, right? And then you can now access it and you can do it yourself. That's one thing you can do. Is that something that you consider?
It is. I've been looking at that because Robinhood, I think it ended on the other day. I don't know what day.
There was a match,
they'll
wasn't there?
probably have it again. They had a 4.5% boost for transferring in a brokerage. So I should have done it then, but my daughter is getting married in 2 weeks, and that's been super distracting.
That is, yes, very
so
inconvenient of your daughter getting married. Very disrespectful.
How dare she?
I know, the very thought of it, eh?
So yes, I am considering moving it. As soon as August 29th is passed, then I'll make those decisions and move everything over. For now, I'm holding the positions that I have and taking profit on the way up.
What's your number one crypto?
XRP.
XRP. That's gonna cheer up all the chat. That's why I asked it. Would you buy an XRP ETF in September, October?
I would.
You would. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much indeed, Casey, for your time. Guys, what we're going to do now is end this stream. It's going to go back to what you missed earlier when I spoke about the liquidations today. So stay right where you are. It'll take you back there. I'll see you back in the morning. Tomorrow's a special show. We're going to be covering live Donald Trump with Vladimir Putin. Massive show tomorrow. We're going to cover that live and everything else that just happens to come up when we wake up in the morning. That's it from me. Thank you ever so much. Casey, you can join me now for the goodbye. It's my pleasure. Yeah. So you know what you got to say. I'm going to say, take care of yourselves, and you're going to do the following line. You ready? All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll send everybody now over to the replay. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves
and each other.
Good night. Bye bye.